Today we discuss about insulin. About insulin is a hormone created by your pancreas that controls the amount of glucose in your bloodstream at any given moment. It also helps store glucose in your liver, fat, and muscles. Finally, it regulates your body's metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. When you eat, your blood glucose levels rise, and this leads a typical person's pancreas to release insulin, so that the sugar can be stored as energy for later use. Without that pancreatic ability, as a person with either type 1 diabetes or advanced type 2 diabetes, your blood sugar levels may rise dangerously high or drop too low. Types of insulin. Insulin characterized by how fast it works. But everyone's body is different. If you have diabetes, you should expect deviations in the amount of time any medication takes to reach your bloodstream. Here are a few useful terms related to how fast and how long insulin acts in your body. Onset is defined as the length of time before insulin hits your bloodstream and begins to lower blood glucose. Peak is the time during which insulin is at its maximum effectiveness at lowering your blood glucose levels. Duration is the length of time insulin continues to lower your blood glucose levels. Rapid-acting insulin, long-acting insulin, short-acting insulin, intermediate-acting insulin, remixed combination insulin. Rapid-acting insulin. This type of insulin begins to affect blood glucose approximately 15 minutes after injection. It peaks in about an hour and then continues to work for a few more. Short-acting insulin. Short-acting insulin reaches your bloodstream within 30 minutes of injection. It peaks in the 2 to 3 hour range and stays effective for 3 to 6 hours. Intermediate-acting insulin. This category includes NPH insulin, neutral protamine hagedorn, which helps control glucose for 10 to 12 hours. A protamine is a type of protein that slows the action of this insulin. Long-acting insulin. This insulin type enters the bloodstream 1 to 2 hours after injection and may be effective for as long as 24 hours. An advantage to long-acting insulin is there is no pronounced peak, and it works more like typical pancreatic insulin. Premixed or combination insulin. Premixed or combination insulin contains a mix of rapid or short-acting insulin combined with an intermediate-acting insulin. This eliminates the need to draw insulin from more than one bottle. What are alternative medications for people with diabetes that aren't insulin? Metformin, a pill that stops sugar production in the liver. Glitazones, pills that remove sugar from the bloodstream. Sulfonylureas and glinides, pills that increase the release of insulin from your pancreas. Starch blockers, pills that slow starch absorption. Incretin therapies and amylin analogs, pills and injections that reduce sugar production in the liver and slow food absorption. Types of the former include DPE4 inhibitors, such as sitagliptin and GLP-1 analogs. SGLT2 inhibitors, pills that are taken before meals that prevent the reabsorption of glucose. Drawback. One complication facing people with diabetes who use insulin is the potential for severe hypoglycemia, also known as insulin shock, which involves using too much insulin and causing your blood sugar to drop extremely low. This can cause coma, seizures, and heart attacks. How to manage my blood glucose levels? Get enough sleep. Lack of sleep can lead to increased secretion of the hormone cortisol, which is inflammatory and can cause greater insulin resistance. When you are deprived of sleep or your sleep is disrupted, your glucose levels tend to go up, whether you have diabetes or not. Exercise regularly. During exercise, insulin sensitivity is increased, and muscle cells use available insulin more efficiently. When your muscles contract during exercise, they also absorb glucose and use it for energy. Dosage. Intravenous. Diabetic ketoacidosis. Adult, as soluble insulin, given in concentration of 1 unit ml using an infusion pump, initially infuse at a rate of 6 units per hour, double or quadruple the rate if blood glucose concentration do not decrease by about 5 mmol/L per hour. If blood glucose concentration have decreased to 10 mol per L, reduce the infusion rate to 3 units per hour and continue with 5% glucose to prevent hypoglycemia until the patient can eat orally. Do not stop the insulin infusion before SC insulin started. Ensure adequate fluid replacement and include potassium chloride in the infusion to prevent insulin-induced hypokalemia. Child, as soluble insulin, given in concentration of 1 unit ml, using an infusion pump, initially infuse at a rate of 0.1 units per kg per hour, double of quadruple the rate if blood glucose concentration do not decrease by about 5 mol per L per hour. If blood glucose concentration halves decreased to 10 mol per L, reduce the infusion rate to 0.05 units per kg per hour and continue with 5% glucose to prevent hypoglycemia until the patient can eat orally. Do not stop the insulin infusion before SC insulin is started. Ensure adequate fluid replacement and include potassium chloride in the infusion to prevent insulin-induced hypokalemia. Intramuscular. Diabetic ketoacidosis. Adult, as soluble insulin, initial loading dose of 20 units. Followed by 6 units per hour until blood glucose drops to 10 mol per L, when the dose is given 2 hourly. Subcutaneous. Diabetes mellitus. Adult, admin according to requirements, inject into thighs, upper arms, buttocks, or abdomen. What is diabetic ketoacidosis? Diabetic ketoacidosis is a serious complication of diabetes that occurs when your body produces high levels of blood acids called ketones. Diabetes mellitus refers to a group of diseases that affect how the body uses blood sugar, glucose. Glucose is an important source of energy for the cells that make up the muscles and tissues. It's also the brain's main source of fuel. The main cause of diabetes varies by time. Hypoglycemia is where the level of sugar, glucose, in your blood drops to low. It mainly affects people with diabetes, especially if they take insulin. Contraindications. Hypoglycemia. Source: animal, Insulin was originally derived from the pancreases of cows and pigs. Animal-sourced insulin is made from preparations of beef or pork pancreases and has been used safely to manage diabetes for many years. Human insulin is the name which describes synthetic insulin, which is laboratory grown to mimic the insulin in humans. Human insulin is laboratory created by growing insulin proteins within Escherichia coli bacteria. Special precaution. Avoid injecting into the same site over and over. This can irritate the skin and underlying fatty tissue. If this happens, it may increase discomfort and cause other complications. Puncturing the same point every time can lead to hard lumps or fatty deposits developing. This can be uncomfortable and even reduce the body's effectiveness in absorbing the medication. When rotating injections, move around within the area to ensure that the injection does not always take place in exactly the same spot. For example, when taking a nighttime dose of long-acting insulin, a person might always feel more comfortable injecting it into the thigh. However, they should switch between the right and left thigh each night. If a person always administers a morning dose of rapid-acting insulin into their abdomen, they should alternate between different areas of the abdomen to avoid repeated injections into the same site. Brand names, animal source. Actrapid, Insulator, Mixtard, Zinulin, Actrapid MC, Lentard, Rapidica, Rapimix. Brand names, human source. Human Actrapid, Human Mixtard, Human Insulator, Insumin 50/50, Human Rapidica, Human Zilulin, Human Rapimax, Humastard. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share.